C4I stands for Consultation, Command, Control, Communications, and Intelligence. And it's all about the sharing of information between various forces, military, police, fire departments, and a whole host of other folks doing a lot of work right now with border security. And so really it's about that sharing of information, providing people with the information they need to understand the situation. The primary goal is to provide the information to decision makers in the environments that are very dynamic, where they really need information fast, accurate. It can't be too much information. It has to be relevant to the decisions they have to make. So it makes it exceedingly challenging to put that information into context for them. You can't hand them a volume of information and have them flip through it when they have to make a decision in 10 seconds.
What are some of the current projects the task force is working on?
Well, I tend to work on a project that's little known, even within the task force. It's called the Information Exchange Framework. It's a joint task force between C4I and another group called MARS, Middleware and Related Services. And what we're focused on is data-centric services and modeling techniques to allow people to define how this information would flow within the environment. Data-centric is because data is the asset. All the equipment that we put together is there to service the data and provide the data to the decision makers. So we're working with that asset. Now that asset has to be both shared and protected. We have security and privacy issues that we have to deal with. So fundamentally, we have to balance that with provision of the information to different partners. As we basically go, it's an international organization typically. We work within NATO, we work within various coalitions on the Pacific coast as well. So what I will share with Portugal is different than what we'll share with the UK. We have different agreements on sharing that information. So we have to manage that in a very dynamic operational environment that changes in severity, threats, scope and complexities. And so that changes. As severity goes up, I'll share more information. During nominal conditions, I'm sharing very little information. And I have to be able to adjust within those contexts.
Talk about the industries that are affected by the standards you create with the C4I Task Force.
Well, it's anywhere from government, who are the end customers for a lot of this, the military forces, the border security forces, the first responders. It's the large organizations, the integrators, because they're typically large, complex environments that they're putting together, systems. The small groups, which is where a lot of the innovation comes from. If you're playing within these standards environments, you have a bit of a lead on what's coming down the pipe. So you can have your products ready as the standard hits the tarmac, where somebody who's sitting and just waiting for the standard coming up is starting a couple of years behind you. So you know what's going on.
What's the real importance of the C4I Task Force?
Well, within the military context, within the communities that I've been discussing, it's mitigating risk. The basic scenario is that these systems are complex, they're risky to build, to integrate, they're costly to integrate. Well, risk usually entails a cost at the end of the day. If it doesn't work, people die. The value, I think, is that we provide the ability to bring communities together. And I guess what best way was that I brought a customer down to one of the meetings. He says, I can't afford to bring all these Uber geeks into one room. Just can't afford it. And they're not locally available to me, so I'd have to bring them from around the world. And they have just naturally congregated OMG, and basically I have access to them, and they're almost for free. So I can go into a collegial discussion with somebody that I would not have access to. Who can get involved is just about anybody. We're looking for academia, government, the customers, the large integrators, the small innovative companies, the individual consultants who have challenges with some of their customers to come and get some of these questions answered or set the task force on a direction. And if it's not the C4I task force, it could be one of the 27 vertical task force in OMG or the 5 or 6 horizontal integration platforms. There's a lot of folks around here that, and as we've mentioned, we have several subgroups. One is IEF, we have UPDM for architecture and modeling, and we will spin off these groups to deal with the specific issues and move them forward.